I'm so excited to be joined here today with Congressman Robert Garcia from California. Congressman, it's great to be here with you. I want to jump right in and talk about the big news of the week, which is this Jeffrey Goldberg Atlantic article that came out just yesterday, which showed essentially that high level Trump officials were discussing military war plans in a Signal group chat. Now, you called for Pete Hegseth to either be fired or to resign from office. Today we learned that Mike Waltz was actually the one who started the Signal group chat. Do you think Waltz should resign as well?
Oh, I mean, look, they all should resign. Anyone that participated and signaled that thread, essentially were sharing and reacting to war plans and secrets that are clearly confidential and top secret, they should all resign or be fired. I mean, the level of incompetence, the level of just not caring about the lives of servicemen and women, is unconscionable, and this is becoming a huge scandal also because now officials are clearly lying. I mean, the White House said that no war plans had been shared. That's been debunked. Obviously, Pete Hegseth had said the same thing. That's also clearly a lie. And now they're trying to cover up and not answer questions. And so I think this is a very serious moment. What we don't know is how often are they actually doing this? How often is the Trump administration using unsecured channels going into other countries? We know that both Tulsi Gabbard and others were actually in other countries and traveling while they were signaling each other. So clearly, other foreign actors, other enemies of the United States, could have actually had access to this information.
Well, so I think a lot of people have this question of this app Signal, which is this technically encrypted app. According to Politico and other reports, Signal is not allowed on a traditional government phone, or at least most government phones. Do you, as a member of Congress, are you allowed to download Signal on your official phones? Are you allowed to use this to communicate classified information?
No, I mean, look, anybody can use Signal. You just can't use it on your official phone. You
Right.
can't use it on when you're actually, of course, on your federal phone. But look, I think the issue is also it's not about Signal. That's not the issue. A lot of folks, can use Signal. It's what you're messaging each other on the app. You certainly can't be messaging war plans, top secret information. That is what's very, very concerning, and especially if they're using it as their official White House communication system. So all of that is what's very concerning to us. There should be investigations. We should be demanding more answers. And Donald Trump should be firing these folks today. And certainly they should be embarrassed enough to resign.
I guess my question here, and a lot of folks have been asking me the same thing. Well, Democrats are really united right now against this. They want resignations, they want investigations. Your caucus, even Hakeem Jeffries, has called for Hegseth's resignation. But Republicans, on the other hand, really have stayed either silent or the one Republican or one or two Republicans in the House, for example, Don Bacon, they just say that they're concerned, right? Like they have this general concern. But no one's out here coming out and calling for a resignation or investigation. Have you heard from your Republican colleagues privately that there is any appetite for one right now?
There's no appetite. Republicans are too cowardly to want to do any type of investigations. Look, they're essentially quiet. They're deferring. They're very, very few, less than a handful of actually criticizing the administration. I mean, the Republicans should be furious that this is happening and that our national security is under threat, but they don't seem to care.
So I do want to talk about what Democrats can do generally here. This is obviously a major breach of national security, of national trust. They're lying to the American public. What can Democrats watching this do? I mean, what can from their either from their couch or on their phone? What do you recommend to them?
Well, I think what's most important is that we continue to call out what's happening. It's very concerning what's happening. It's very concerning that Republicans have zero interest in actually keeping people accountable, but being loud, being consistent. Our leader coming out and taking on Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, saying the right thing, calling for the resignation. That's the right approach. And we've got to continue to push investigations, demand answers, demand that these administration officials be accountable. And look, by calling this out, by this reporter, this editor, writing these stories, you've done a great service to the country. And quite frankly, it's probably going to be saving lives in the future because of it.
So I want to pivot and talk about a hearing that you participated in today regarding DOGE and NPR, PBS, and just generally publicly broadcasted news. Could you talk a little bit more about what that hearing was, what the purpose of it is, and what folks should take away from it? Because you made some headlines today referring to Elmo and Sesame Street in the hearing. So I want to give you a little bit of time to talk about that.
Sure. I mean, look, we know that Elon Musk is trying to do everything he can to destroy our agencies and our federal government, different programs people depend on. And right now, he and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who chairs the DOGE committee, are focused on trying to defund and destroy Sesame Street, PBS, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, all these shows people love, NPR, which provides news to so many around the world, not just here in the United States. Of course, these organizations, these media conglomerates, some receive federal funding, and it's significant to be able to put on a show like Sesame Street for young people to learn and learn their ABCs and learn how to count. And yet, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Elon Musk want to destroy and essentially eliminate programs like Sesame Street. And so we made a point that we should be firing Elon Musk and saving Elmo. We're very, we brought a bunch of visual aids that kind of showed different characters on Sesame Street, and made the point that these characters are not threats to the country. I mean, these people are beloved characters, and they have educated America's kids, learning values like sharing and treating each other with respect. And so, but clearly, Marjorie Taylor Greene could care less about that. They want to destroy anything that provides people with educational opportunities.
Well, I think my follow-up to question to that is we see a common thread here, right? For the first kind of part regarding Jeffrey Goldberg, they're attacking Jeffrey Goldberg, the reporter. They're not necessarily admitting fault. And now they're attacking NPR, PBS, and news organizations in the hearing today through DOGE. Do you, I think a lot of people are really concerned about this kind of tearing down of the fourth estate right now, about attacking the mainstream media or attacking the media generally. Do you have a concern of the Trump administration? I mean, we're only 2 months in and we're already seeing this really taking on the media to a point where you could really see this like quelling of the First Amendment freedom of press rights.
I think it's very concerning. I think a lot of people are really concerned about the attacks on the free press. I mean, look, Donald Trump, back even when he ran the first time, if you you go all the way back even prior to the last campaign, he's been calling the media, evil,
Right.
fake news, trusting, putting doubt, non-trusting news sources, and that's damaged the credibility of the media, particularly the mainstream media. I mean, it used to be that a publication like the New York Times or the Washington Post, NPR were widely trusted, and now you have more and more distrust in media. Not to say these organizations haven't made mistakes and haven't had to correct stories. I mean, that happens in the news business. And so Donald Trump has essentially worked to create distrust, and then he's worked to uplift a lot of these kind of far right extremists, podcasters, and folks that that we know, whether they're on YouTube or social media or other platforms. He's worked to basically move his audience into that space, and so that's why this moment is really dangerous, because people aren't getting the right information. Thankfully, there's folks like you and others that are now coming in, that have been doing the work, kind of filling the space of providing a different perspective, maybe a more progressive perspective, or at a minimum, facts and truth, and information that people can actually assess and use for their own decisions that they're making. So it's a dangerous moment, but they're going to continue to attack the free media until they basically have state-run TV and a bunch of people that will repeat whatever they want them to say.
Right. And I think that's extremely scary. I guess my final question here is a lot of folks are concerned about the state of the Democratic Party today. They really feel like the party is rudderless in a lot of ways. They saw that with the budget negotiations and the CR. They saw it really between November and inauguration, where we didn't really have a clear leader. In your opinion today, what is the future of the Democratic Party right now, and who is the leader of the party?
So, I've been pretty vocal about this. I think that our party has a lot to learn and has a lot to change. I think we had an election loss that it was serious, and that people at this moment want us to be fighters. They want us to match the energy that people feel on the ground. We have not pushed hard enough. We have this kind of idea of respectability politics, where we've got to follow every single thing to not do the wrong thing, is ridiculous. These guys are fighting like hell, using every tool possible out there, and we're trying to hold hands in kumbaya. That's not going to work. And so a lot of us have been out there fighting the good fight and pushing the truth. Look, Hakeem Jeffries is the leader of our party. He's the leader of us in Congress. He did the right thing by calling out Pete Hegseth. He is also going to lead us in winning the House back in 2026. That's incredibly important for us to stop Donald Trump. But it's, of course, not just one person. Well, he's the leader of us in Congress. Look, I'm going to argue that there's folks like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's out there inspiring millions of people across this country with the message of taking on the billionaire class and supporting workers. So she, and I've told this to folks, that is the message for the Democratic Party. We've got to continue to support folks like AOC, like Bernie Sanders, and yes, people that are doing the internal work, like Hakeem Jeffries, who's doing a great job of motivating and uniting the caucus. So I think there's a lot of leaders out there. We've got some great governors that
Right.
you and I both know. We got to keep pushing every single day.
Congressman, thank you so much.
Thank you.